If you've ever wondered what it's like to grow up on a family vlogging channel, then Shari Franke has the memoir for you. So not only did Shari publish a memoir detailing what it's like to grow up online and her family's descent into everything that happened, but I also talked to her exclusively for Rolling Stone about the memoir. So let's get into it. Shari's memoir opens with an Instagram story where she is capturing and uploading to Instagram the moment that police are battering down the door to get to her siblings. So Shari says, "This nightmare was born on social media. It should die there too." Her words really hit hard and they set the tone for the raw honesty that follows. So who were the Frankes? If you were on YouTube a few years ago, you definitely knew them. They had a channel called 8 Passengers where the parents, Kevin and Ruby Franke, were the head of the channel, and it was called 8 Passengers because they had 6 kids, so together they had 8 passengers. And it was basically just what life was like as parents of 6 kids. But as Shari tells it, the smiles that were on the channel were actually not telling the truth about what was really happening behind the camera, and the pressure was really intense to be in a family vlogging family. What wasn't shown was the off-camera pressure and the intense desire of Ruby to make everything look perfect, even when behind the scenes things were not perfect. So it's interesting because there were like small signs that maybe things weren't as good as they were perceived to be. Like Ruby Franke uploaded a video to YouTube where she said that her teenage son had been sleeping on a beanbag for months as punishment, and people were really taken aback by that. There was also a video where she said that her 5-year-old daughter forgot her lunch at school and the teacher called and asked her to bring the lunch in, and Ruby basically said that her kid needed to learn a lesson, so she wasn't going to bring it. So people were kind of like side-eyeing Ruby and the entire 8 Passengers channel, but I don't think anyone thought that what was going to happen was going to happen. So in 2023, everything changed when Ruby Franke was arrested. She was arrested along with her partner Jodi Hildebrandt on charges of aggravated child abuse. So this happened after Shari's younger brother actually escaped from the home where he was being held, and he was emaciated and he had ligature marks on his body. According to police reports, it's just like really dark. I think even though people thought maybe something was going on behind the scenes, I don't think anyone thought that that was going on. So both women, Jodi and Ruby, were sentenced to up to 30 years in prison. But who is Jodi Hildebrandt? So Jodi Hildebrandt joined the family's life as a therapist, even though Shari says that Jodi's license had been revoked. And her influence over the family grew disturbingly fast. So she did sessions with Shari, with Ruby, with Kevin, with Shari's younger brother, Chad. And according to Shari, Jodi wasn't just her mom's business partner. She became the emotional and possibly romantic replacement for Shari's dad. Shari says that her mom became a fawning, starstruck acolyte to what she now calls their personal cult leader. So Shari was really just a kid when her privacy was sold for clicks. And I think what really was fascinating to me when I talked to her for Rolling Stone was she wrote this memoir that was incredibly personal. She wrote about feeling unloved by her mother. She wrote about suicidal thoughts. She wrote about losing her church membership after in a relationship with a married elder. So I was wondering like why she felt after her privacy had been traded already, why she wanted to tell people more. She said that it was actually a way of taking her story back. So she says, writing the book was a way to take back my privacy, as strange as that sounds, just because it was Ruby who took my voice away. And then with the arrest, it was the media that picked a side of me to portray. So I wrote, the book was Shari's way of correcting the record, her opportunity to share what she's comfortable telling the world about and keep the rest to herself. In the book, you really get the sense that there are 2 main factors that have really changed Shari's life. So one was her family's YouTube fame and family vlogging, and the way that the camera was always on and everything was always being captured. She was making videos about, they were making videos about shaving her legs for the first time, about waxing her eyebrows, about crushes, about just everything so personal. And then there was Jodi and the way that her mom became almost a member of what Shari calls Jodi's cult. Another really interesting thing is that Shari is actually a voice for other child influencers, and she's pushing for laws that would legislate the profits and privacy of child influencers. So she stood up in front of the Utah State Legislature and she said, no matter how much money kids make, quote, there is no such thing as a moral or ethical family vlogger. So I thought that was a really striking thing to say, especially because some of Shari's maternal aunts are still family vlogging. So that feels very intense to say. I was just astounded. And if you are too, or if this is interesting to you, just make sure that you follow and subscribe so that you don't miss my next video. But Shari is not staying stuck in the past. She just graduated from BYU. She actually got engaged, although she says that in the Instagram post where she shared her engagement, she said that was the end of sharing her private life, and that writing this memoir was her way of saying, okay, this is my story and stop asking me about it. I'm done telling you now. I asked her what she wants other influencer kids to know, and she says, I hope that by writing this, child influencers will see that their voices matter and that it's worth whatever bridges they might burn. I'll link the full story in the description of the video, and you should definitely go read it because there's stuff that I didn't have time to get into. I didn't want this to be a 40-minute long video, but it's so fascinating, and Shari really has a lot to say. Also, drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you think about Shari saying there is no moral or ethical family vlogger. Do you think that there is a moral or ethical way to be a family vlogger, or do you agree with Shari? I want to know, and make sure that you follow and subscribe for the next video.